Dear student, good morning all. Today I am going to explain chapter 9, a bicycle in a good repair. And this chapter is written by Jerome K. Jerome. First of all, I will read your chapter, then I will explain. A bicycle in good repair. A man I knew supposed one evening we should go for a long bicycle ride together on the following day. And I agreed. I got up early for me. I made an effort and was pleased with myself. He came half an hour late. I was waiting for him in the garden. It was a lovely day, he said. That's a good looking machine of yours. How does it run? Oh, like most of them, I answered, easily enough in the morning, goes a little stiffy after lunch. He caught hold of it by the front wheel and the fork and shook it violently. I said, don't do that, you will hurt it. I did not see why he should shake it. It had not done anything to him besides if it wanted shaking. I was the proper person to shake it. I felt much as I should have. He started walking my dog. He said, this front wheel wobbles. I said, it doesn't if you don't wobble it. It didn't wobble as a matter of fact. Nothing worth calling a wobble. He said, this is dangerous. Have you got a hammer? I ought to have been firm, but I thought that perhaps he really did not something about the business. I went to the tool shed to see what I could find. When I came back, he was sitting on the ground with the front wheel between his legs. He was playing with it, twiddling it round between his fingers. The remnant of the machine was laying on the gravel path beside him. He said, it looks to me as if the bearings were all wrong. I said, don't you trouble about it anymore. You will make yourself tired. Let us put it back and get off. He said, we may as well see what is the matter with it. Now it is out. He talked as though it had dropped out by accident. Before I could stop him, he had unscrewed something somewhere and out rolled all over the path some dozen or so little balls. Catch him, he shouted, catch him. We must not lose any of them. He was quite excited about them. We grovelled around for half an hour and found 16. He said he hoped we had got them all because if not, it would make a serious difference to the machine. I put them for safety in my hat. It was not a sensible thing to do, I admit. Now I am explaining first part. Dear student, in this story, इसमें एक लेखक है जो अपने मित्र के साथ कहीं घूमने जाने का, एक लॉन्ग जर्नी पर जाने का मूड बनाता है। और इस अवस्था में वो सबसे पहले जो है अपने साइकिल को अच्छी तरीके से रखने की बात करता है कि अगर साइकिल अच्छी होगी, अच्छे कंडीशन में होगी, तो हमें लॉन्ग राइडिंग पर जाने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं आएगी। इसलिए वह अपनी साइकिल की जो है मरम्मत कराने के लिए एक एक्सपर्ट जो है, जो साइकिल बनाने वाला है पर्सन, उस व्यक्ति के पास जाता है और इसी पर आधारित एक कहानी है और इसको हम एक्सप्लेन करेंगे इन इंग्लिश। नाउ लिसन केयरफुली। द स्टोरी बाइसाइकिल इन गुड रिपेयर इज रिटन बाय Jerome K. Jerome. In this story, narrator tells about a long bicycle ride and also for safety. A man became ready to go on a long bicycle ride and Arthur became angry and also advised to keep bicycle in a good condition. Before going on a long bicycle ride, Arthur was very happy for ongoing along bicycle ride and also he was becoming very happy. Now he became half an hour late and also he was waiting in the garden. It was very lovely day for him. Is your bicycle in good condition? While it is looking in very good condition and also asked about bicycle. It runs very smooth in the morning, but it runs a little stiffy after lunch. He caught the front wheel and fork and also shook it violently. Arthur became unhappy because he was disturbing his lovely bicycle and he did not know why he was shaking the wheels. He was an expert mechanic, so he was repairing the bicycle and he was not harming the bicycle. Mechanic told that front wheel was vibrating. Then Arthur replied that the front wheel does not wobble. Then he said that this situation might be dangerous. And now the second part of the story. Now I am reading second part of the story. He then said that while he was about it, he would see to the chain for me and at once began talking of the gear cage. I did try to dissuade him from that. I told him what an experienced friend of mine once said to me solemnly, if anything goes wrong with your gear cage, sell the machine and buy new one. It comes cheaper. He said, people talk like that who understand nothing about machines. Nothing is easier than taking off a gear cage. I had to confess he was right. In less than 5 minutes, he had the gear cage in two pieces laying on the path and was groveling for screws. He said it was always a mystery to him the way screws disappeared. Common sense continued to whisper to me, stop him before he does any more mischief. You have a right to protect your own property from the ravages of lunatic. Take him by the scruff of the neck and kick him out of the gate. But I am big when it comes to hurting under people's feeling, and I let him muddle on. He gave up looking for the rest of the screws. He said screws had a knack of turning up when you least expected them, and that now he would see to the chain. He tightened it till it would not move. Next, he loosened it until it was twice as loose as it was before. Then he said, we had better think about getting the front wheel back into his place again. I held the fork open and he worried with the wheel. At the end of the 10 minutes, I suggested he should hold the fork and that I should handle the wheel and we changed places. At length, we did get the thing into position, and the moment it was in position, he burst out laughing. I said, what is the joke? He said, well, I am an ass. It was the first thing he had said that made me respect him. I asked him what had led him to the decision. He said, We have forgotten the balls. I looked for my hat. It was laying topsy-turvy in the middle of the path. He was of a cheerful disposition. He said, "Well, we must put back all we can find and trust to Providence." We found 11. We fixed 6 on one side and 5 on the other, and half an hour later, the wheel was in its place again. It need hardly be added that it really did oval now. A child might have noticed it. He said it would do for the present. I said, "Watching you do this is of real use to me. It is not only your skill that fascinates me. It's your cheery confidence in yourself, your inexplicable hopefulness that does me good." Thus encouraged, he set to work to refix the gear cage. He stood the bicycle against the house and worked from the off side. Then he stood it against a tree and worked from the on side. Then I held it for him while he lay on the ground with his head between the wheels and worked at it from below and dropped all from himself. Then he took it away from me and doubled himself across it till he lost his balance and slid over on his head. Then he lost his temper and tried blind the thing, the bicycle. I was glad to see so spirit, and the subsequent proceedings degenerated into the little is than a rough and tumble fight between him and the machine. One moment the bicycle would be on the gravel path and he on top of it. The next the position would be reserved, he on the gravel path, the bicycle on him. Now he would be standing flushed with victory, the bicycle firmly fixed between his legs, but his strength would be short-lived. By a sudden quick movement it would free itself and turning upon him, hit him sharply over the head with one its handle. At 1:45, the diesel well cut and bleeding. He said, "I think that will do," and rose and wiped his brow. The bicycle looked as if it also had enough of it, which had received most punishment. It would have been difficult to say. I took him into the black kitchen, where, so far as was possible, he cleaned himself. Then I sent him home. And now I am explaining this part of second part of the story. He took the front wheel up and fork and held it between two legs. He unscrewed something, and from somewhere around a dozen of balls wearing came out. His friend insisted that the author must collect all of them, else the bicycle might not be resorted to its old condition. The author collected around 16 of them and kept them in his head. The author's friend now started taking off the gear case. The author warned him not to mess up with the gear case, but his friend said that nothing is an easier as taking off the gear cage. He took it off easily, but had a nightmare while fixing it back to its place. His bicycle, which was until now in good condition, was now lying scattered, divided in many parts. Arthur wanted to stop his friend from causing further troubles, but he admits that he is weak at hurting others. Then it was time his beak at hurting others. Then it was the time for the chain which he tightened to an extent that it stopped moving. He then loosened it until it became twice as loose as it was before. Hard work to collect the parts. After plying his tricks on the cycle, Arthur's friend seemed to be contented and now wanted to pull all the pieces back into their place. It took a lot of time and a great effort. The process revealed that his friend was inexperienced and knew nothing about the repairing a bicycle. After struggling for many years, his friend was able to somehow fix the different parts of the bicycle. The author took him to his vacation and sent him back to his home. Thanks. Okay, and you will write all the word meanings from your book.